Hi, I'm Sarah from The Upcoming. Lovely to speak to you. Can you kick off with a brief intro to The Phantom of the Open? What can people expect if they watch it?
They can expect laughter and tears and heartwarming, feel-good, very entertaining, uplifting, feel-good movie.
Hope and a bit of hope, a bit of optimism.
Yeah, much needed hope and optimism. It's about family and community and pursuing your dreams, whatever it takes.
And what was the genesis of the project for you? When did you first come across the story, and why was it right to be put on the big screen?
You should answer that question because you came across it first.
Well, so Simon Farnaby, the writer, is a big golf fan. He's someone I've worked with in the past, and he had known about Morris because he was a golf fan.
Right, how are you?
And he just brought us the story and said, "Isn't this incredible?" And there was something about Morris that was inspiring, but not inspiring in a traditional way in that he succeeds. He's inspiring because he never succeeds, but he never gave up, and that's what feels really special about it, I think. And so we kind of plugged away at it, and people weren't sure about whether people would want to watch a film about golf, but it felt like such a universal story that it's about much more than that. As Nic said, it's about hope and optimism and family, really. And Simon, of course, writes with such heart that we kept plugging away, and then so I started with it, and then we brought Nic on board to co-produce it, and then we kind of went from there, really.
Yeah.
Went to the BFI and the BBC film, and
Found Craig, our
Mark,
director.
and why else, of course, when you've got those people involved, it's got to be on the big screen.
And what was that like? I mean, first of all, getting Craig on, to helm it, but also a bit of a who's who in terms of our British actors with Sally Hawkins and Mark and Rhys. What was it like having them all working on your film?
It was great. One of the things I really remember from the shoot is that endlessly cast and crew were telling us what a happy shoot it was, and I think that may partly be because we'd just come out of the pandemic and everyone was so grateful to have a job. But but it was the first time anyone had shot since the first lockdown, and it was just a very warm, big-hearted group of people, and I think we were lucky given the level of people that we had. There weren't a lot of very ugly egos, and it felt like a privilege to be working.
But I still picture myself, really. I mean, Mark Rylance was just there, we did a film with him. It's kind of
and he was our first choice, and I think all of us think if he hadn't said yes, we don't really know what we'd have done, because he was the only person we ever imagined in this role.
Getting Craig on, he came in with such energy, and I think there's a version of this film which, it's British, it's 70s, it could have been the soundtrack, the feeling that could have been very sort of traditional British cinema, but Craig came in straight away and was talking about he wanted to be like Boogie Nights, he wanted to be like Goodfellas, and it kind of like, that energy was like, yeah, that's it, because that's like what Morris was, it's bigger.
It's slightly fantastic.
It kind of informed everything from that point. The colour, the style of shooting, the movement, the soundtrack. We were like the soundtrack. It's going to be all, it's like disco, it's soul. Plus, of course, the twins were disco nuts. We were like, let's make it all kind of American, kind of rather than going, having British glam rock or punk. You could have done. So kind of from that meeting, really, kind of informed our take on the whole story, really.
And what do you think it is that sets actors apart, like Sally Hawkins, but in particular Mark? I was doing some interviews for The Outfit, his other film, and they were saying just he has such a particular way of doing things, brings such a particular presence, but it's always phenomenal. Was that your experience?
Yeah, I think he has this great humanity. And actually, despite being a famous actor, more than you'd imagine, quite a lot of humility as well. And Mark in particular does something with his eyes. I think there's so much power in the eyes. A lot of the time there's not a great deal of movement or anything very excessive, but the eyes do a huge amount.
And Mark said, we were talking about acting, and Mark said, the key that he thinks to film acting, I suppose theatre acting too, but particularly with film acting, is if you can make sure every time you do it, remember for your character it's the first time you've ever done it. I thought that was really interesting, that he sort of, he actually, it always feels real, because he always remembers that this has never happened to this character yet. And Sally, I suppose, Sally's one of those people who just kind of just lights up on the camera. Something about her.
She's got such heart.
Stick a camera on her, and it just the light seems to kind of come out of her rather than shining on her.
When she's also there's just no pretense. It's all there. She's incredibly honest. But the other thing with Mark in particular in this role is that he didn't play it for laughs. There's a great deal of comedy in the movie. It's very funny, but he played it pretty much entirely straight, and I think that was crucial to his execution of the role as well.
And what do you hope ultimately people take away? It's like that classic British underdog story, but like we were saying, there's optimism, and maybe people need a bit of levity right now.
I think that they'll take away hope and inspiration.
Yeah, I think so. You can. I think what Morris inspires in you is that you can choose to be. You can choose to be happy. I suppose to an extent, you can choose to be optimistic. You might not succeed in what you want, but the act of trying is actually what the strength is. And I think that's almost a more realistic message than saying always follow your dreams, because you'll make it. Well, you might not, but the act of following these dreams in itself has value.
Yeah, I mean, if there was another tagline for this film, it would be the old adage: "It's not the winning or the losing; it's the taking part."
Yeah.
And, it's about joining in. It's about giving it a try.
I was thinking it's about the journey, not the destination.
Absolutely.
Our until he died, Morris was still waiting to get to his destination.
Yeah.
But the act of doing that, I think, is really inspiring.
Well, and also he fails at golf, but I don't want to give a spoiler for the movie, but his destination is very unexpected, and he succeeds in another way, and it's in a way far more rewarding than getting a trophy. But it wasn't where he thought his journey would take him at all.
Can you quickly tell us what you're working on next? You know yet?
I'm working on a couple of films and a TV show. They're very early days. I'm not sure I want to talk about them yet.
A few bits and bobs, maybe something for you, I think with Craig, maybe something for Simon, but early days.
Well, enjoy the evening. It's been a pleasure to speak to you. Thank you so much. Cheers. Thank you.